Hi there, this is Lynn Allen. Thank you so much for joining me for another AutoCAD tip courtesy of Cadalyst magazine. And before I get started, I need to do a shout out to a fabulous young lady that I met by the name of Travisha. Hi Travisha, see, I didn't forget. Today we're going to be talking about a great Express tool. You know how I love my Express tools. And this one's going to help us control and set our system variables. Now you know there's about 1 zillion, maybe a little less than 1 zillion system variables inside of AutoCAD. And this particular tool is going to help us set those up and get them the way we want them to be, all right? Because it can get very confusing. So I'm going to go to the Express Tools tab on the ribbon, which you should have. And let's go over to this option here that says System Variables. It executes a command that I cannot pronounce. Sysvdlg. I'm sure it's probably for sysvar dialog, because we always call them sysvars, but it's very hard to say. So we're just going to grab it from the menu, and I'm going to pretend that I can say it. But you can, of course, go to it directly by keying in sysvd dialog. So if you take a look in this particular command, this dialog box, look, it shows you all of the system variables. And there are, what did I say? There's about 1 zillion, a little less than 1 zillion. And this is going to make it so much easier for us to set up our system variables. And I love the way this works. For example, there's a new system variable called wipeout_frame. Let's go find that one. It's right there. And so if you take a look inside of here, it shows you what the current value is, what it's set to right now. It shows you the initial value. That was the default value when you first loaded up AutoCAD, which always comes out in handy in case you want to put things back to defaults. And it gives you the various values that you can set these system variables to and explains it to you. It's kind of like a lightweight version of the help file, much easier just to go straight to the point and get the information in this command. For example, you'll see here that wipeout_frame has 3 different settings, and it tells you what they all are. And probably the biggest deal is the newest setting, which is a value of 2, which allows you, if you use wipeouts, to have the frames displayed but not have them plotted, which really comes in handy, right? Because you need to have the frames displayed in order to edit them. So I could come in here and I could set this value very easily. And you will also see in here that it tells you that this value is saved in the drawing. So that means that no matter what I set it to here in this drawing, it's only going to affect this particular drawing, not any of the others. Also important. It tells you what type it is. It's an integer, right? It's going to be 0, 1, or 2. And that's probably not quite as important because you know it will yell at you if you give it the wrong value. So I'm going to leave wipeout_frame alone. Let's change one though. Let's go up to, and you can key in stuff up here, but it wasn't working for me. So I don't know what happened to that box up there. So now I find that I'm just kind of going through the list alphabetically until I get to the one I want. I'm going to go to mtjigstring, which is a tip I gave you a while back. This is kind of a fun system variable. It controls the sample text when you go into the text command, which it tells you right there. And you'll see that I have the default of AutoCAD, and I'll change that to Cadalyst, and I'll show you the result of that when we're all finished. All right, so if you make a change and you decide you want to keep it, very simple, just say OK. And now I could go into the text command, and you'll see that there, my sample text now says Cadalyst. It doesn't say AutoCAD anymore. The default, of course, is ABC, but you could put, you know, your favorite football team or whatever works for you there. All right, so let's go back into sysvdialog, because I want to show you some other really cool things in here. And incidentally, that last setting that I set, mtjigstring, it was saved in the registry just like this first one up here. And if it's saved in the registry, that means that that value is going to permeate through all of the drawings. So if I close this drawing and open another one and go into the text command, my default string of Cadalyst is still going to be there. All right, so what else does this cool command have to offer? Well, you will see down here that there's an option for save all. What is that? If you go in and you get all of your settings exactly the way you want them to be, your system variables, you might decide that you want to save like a little backup file that you can bring back in later on in case things go terribly wrong or someone comes in and changes your system variables around or whatever the situation is. And there are 2 file formats that you can save it under. An SVF file, which you could easily read right back in. I'll show that to you in just a bit. Or you could actually save it out as a script file, which is a pretty darn cool option. You could save it out to a script file and you could just run that script file as needed. All right, so let's say you saved it as an SVF file. We'll just pretend that we did save all our settings as an SVF file. It's in the wrong directory, but we're just going to pretend. All right, so then let's say we leave the dialog box, we go on a merry way, things go terribly wrong, and all of your system variables are all messed up. They're not set to what you want them to be set to. No problem. Just go right back into that same command and you use the read option. And there you'll see there's our saved file there of all of our system variables. We would read it back in. It would reset them all very quickly and very easily. Really, this is something you CAD managers should pay attention to in case you weren't aware of it, because I think it could really help you out. All right, so try this command out. It's very, very helpful whenever you need to go in and modify any of your system variables. It's going to save you time. And then definitely save them. Save your system variables out to a file so that, like I said, if things go terribly wrong, you can bring them right back the way they were before. All right? So thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you back here in 2 more weeks.